Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital. Hope you're all doing great and welcome to this new video here on SUI. Wanted to do a full update here on the technicals, but also wanted to speak on the fundamentals. I mean, I obviously covered SUI back on Thursday, didn't cover it yesterday after the major hack of Cetus, which is a shame. I mean, Cetus is a protocol I've always said I liked a lot, also in that video, so it was great timing. But I've used Cetus. I mean, to be fair, I sold most of my Cetus about 2 weeks ago, believe it or not. But if you just, you know, if you buy Cetus and you look it up, you have to vest it for 180 days. So I already did that back in November. I could sell 2 weeks ago or something, so I did. So I wasn't personally hurt, and I hope none of you were personally hurt by the hack as well either. But what it has caused is quite a lot of bearish pressure, of course, and obviously the other fundamentals, the other news doesn't help. But if you compare SUI right now to some of its peers, like Solana, it's not doing great, right? And even compared to something like XRP, which is notoriously, you know, stable, but also relatively weak, or at least not as bullish as some of as SUI and Solana have been sometimes. But SUI also is trading lower than that, and technically it's not looking great. And fundamentally right now, what you also get, and I've spoken to a couple of SUI whales already, that share this this doubt, to say the least, is that it seems like right now they will be able to recover quite a lot of the funds that have been hacked, right? Through validators that are not validating any of the transactions from the addresses that stole the SUI, or at least that pulled from the liquidity pools. I don't think they're going to be able to get back everything, but that's obviously bullish for Cetus, and that's bullish for the users. And I think in general it's the best decision. But what that has created is this fear and this debate about the decentralization of SUI and whether it even is decentralized. And I very much get that, right? Because ultimately, I mean, SUI says about itself that it's decentralized. And what we've seen so far is that it's not really. Now, it's not completely true. And ultimately, I think what they're doing is a good thing, all right? Because, you know, there's a lot of talks about SUI not being decentralized. And I personally know some huge SUI holders that have exited their positions over the last 2 days. And that's also why I think the technicals are where they are. And we'll speak about that later. But ultimately, I think SUI has done the best it can. This was a huge hack. I think it was ultimately the best decision to do what they did and to let those validators not validate those transactions. And to also set into some motion to some proposals, which, by the way, I mean, it's still like if like SUI, maybe the foundation set its Miston Labs, set it into motion, but ultimately still a majority of the validators, which is to a certain extent decentralized, they have to agree, right? And they have to do that. So I would still say that this is the best decision. This doesn't fully take away from the decentralization. And not every chain has to be fully decentralized either. Now, what that means for the technicals, though, I'm not certain. At this point of time, on the higher time frames, unfortunately, SUI has lost this major support level right here at 3.65, 30-day rolling VWAP, but also on the 12-hour time frame, the trend. All right. So what needs to happen in the next 2 days or so is that we need to reclaim that level at 3.65, 3.67. If we're able to do that, we're back into the balance and SUI can stay balanced. If we're unable to do that, which at this point of time we've dropped down below that with quite a lot of volume, and therefore I have to say I think it's most likely we're going to drop down lower. But if we're unable to do that, we will drop down lower. All right, and the next support level is right here at 3.45. But I would go as far as saying that dropping down into that level between 3 and 3.2 is a realistic possibility there as well, right? So at this point of time, given the fundamental uncertainty in general in the markets, in combination with what we're seeing fundamentally and technically for SUI specifically, I would say this is most likely, and I'll keep you updated on this, all right? If we actually are able to get that reclaim above 3.67, great news, and we have to switch what we think about SUI, but as it stands, this is most likely. Those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know. So for now, thank you for watching. Take care and bye.